Live from my car on my way to my dad's. I'm getting ready to go mow the lawn for Daddy-O. He arrives this week. He's coming back from Trumansburg, New York. He's playing the snowboard game. So, some things I want to share. You see the title. Everything we see in the world is a collective collaboration. What does that mean to you? Where attention goes, energy flows. What are you creating? When you wake up in the morning and you wake up in a good mood, everything around you kind of like falls in line with that. Just like if you wake up in a bad mood, you'll find all sorts of stuff to complain about. You know, it's like that spiral effect. It's the, snowball. So if you have one bad experience, you attract more bad experiences because the more you attach to those experiences. So the negative mind, when it kicks in, it'll get a strong hold on you, and you don't need that. None of us need that. And I've been there, done that in my life. When you find one thing wrong, you can find all sorts of things wrong. Just like if you're really in a good positive vibe and you're just, as we say, dancing through the daisies or frolicking through the tulips, everything will show up to match your vibration. So consider this: whatever you see out in the world, that focus is internal being externalized. So what you see out in the world is really just a mere reflection and projection, because this is the collective collaboration. That what you see outside of you is just reflecting back to you what is inside. Sit with that for a second. That, again, where energy goes, attention flows. Attention goes where energy flows. It's dual. It goes both ways, baby. You can't see something outside of yourself that doesn't already exist within you, because you are a collaborator. You are a manifester. You are a co-creator of this universe and this world that we are all participating in, this game of life. So everything you see outside of yourself had to originate inside. And as a collective, we had to collectively agree that this is what will be. Everything from the physical form to the systems and the organizations that maybe we dislike, but it had to be inside of us first. And if we're still going along with it, why are we focusing on it? Why are we giving it so much of our attention? Because it's our work to do. That which triggers you within, it's going to show up outside of you. And whatever's outside of you, if it triggers you, that's because it's stirring up inside of you to be confronted, to be owned, to be healed, to be let go of. Because you can't let go of what you don't already know you're holding on to. So again, you have to know what's inside of you to let it go. You have to recognize, oh my gosh, I have this strong dogmatic belief system around money is the biggest one right here, right? And worthiness. If you don't feel valuable, you don't feel worthy, you don't feel you have something to offer the world, what makes you think money's just going to come to you? You've got a block already because you don't see value in yourself. And the majority of people equate their value with nothing, with money. They consider money more valuable than themselves. How crazy is that when you think about it? It's like poof, it doesn't exist except for in paper form when you do see it. So when you do have money, do you value it more than yourself? Do you put more attention on it than you do on you? What's a priority? Because when you start tracing back to the whys, what is your priority in life? What is it that you give your attention to, your focus on? That's what you grow. And that in itself, if you dislike something, why are you putting value on it? What is the contrary? What is the dual side of whatever it is you dislike that you claim so strongly? Because sometimes people hold on more to what they dislike, and that's why it doesn't go away, than they do on the like. That's why when you go to a restaurant, it's interesting to witness a person say, I don't want this, I don't want that. They do process of elimination because they don't know what they want. They don't know what they like. They don't even know what they value, and they don't know what they place a priority on. But they're real quick to tell you what they don't want. They're caught up in the negative mind. It's easier for them to process of elimination, which means they're giving more attention and focus on all that other extra baggage, drama, trauma, that they're creating more of it. That it's actually more prioritized than that which they claim they do want when they do realize they want something other than that. So these are just different things to reflect upon on this Sunday, because we are in Halloween. Ooh, and it's spooky and it's scary and it's a ritual, because what we've been trained, holly is the tree from which they made the wands to cast the spells. So this holly day is not a holy day, but a holiday, which means it's not what we thought it was, people. Everything we were raised with when we were children, we had fun and we thought it was magical. Well, yeah, it's magic, but it's not casting the spells we think they are. It's been promoting, maintaining, sustaining, keeping us under the spell of humanity. Is through the humanity being part of the game, that you yourself have been conditioned what to think, how to behave. All of that is through your participation and the words you were taught. So when you think you're celebrating a holiday, it is not a holy day. In fact, you're participating in a ritual that is part of your enslavement to the system, the corporations, to consumerism, keep you entertained and entertained under the spell. This is the spell that was cast upon humanity to keep you distracted from living your best life. The fact that you may be struggling, I know we're all going through something, struggling to make ends meet. Be careful the words you speak. Be careful the words you choose to cast your spell, tell a better story. If you're struggling, start telling the story you desire to experience, because every time you tell the story of disempowerment, you give your power away more. You disempower yourself even more. So these casting of spells, humanity is under the veil of illusion. It's exclusive, and it includes each and every one of us. We've all been raised to believe certain things. So this collective collaboration is what keeps this matrix alive. It keeps the machine, it keeps the beast fed, because entertaining, training keeps you distracted. If you're complying or you are defying, it is the same energy, because duality is choosing this or that, and that's the trap. The true way to win the game of life is to not participate, to disengage, and to recognize how you've been played and been playing. You've been preyed upon, you've been played upon, and you've been part of the show. Now become the main actor in your performance, your role, your play, your life, and start writing your own rules. Start casting your own spells, and stop entertaining and entertaining in all of this illusionary stuff, because it's all made up. And when you really look around, again, it's a collective collaboration. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and me agreeing upon all this stuff. Some crazy stuff. I've sat with this for years about how, form, okay? Everything in nature is neutral, first off. And because everything is neutral, that means it's not in dualism. It's not this or that. It's not good or bad. No, it's the humans. It's man that created the duality in the game. Even God didn't make anything good or bad, because the light and the dark are the same, that they're two sides of the whole, that it's not good or bad. It's thinking that makes it so. It's when man projects its perceptions, its beliefs, its stories, its thoughts, its ideas upon the neutral thing, that it becomes something. Might be no thing, and you made it something. Because it's matter when you give it your attention, your focus, and you agree upon internally that it does matter based on your attachment to it mattering. So we make things personal even when they're not, because we attach. And so if you've ever heard the great sages and the yogis say to practice non-attachment, there you go. That's what they're talking about. The moment you latch on, you create meaning out of no thing, you have created matter. You have created your own suffering, because it's in that humans create their own struggle and strife. So what matters to you is what you attach to. Simple as that. Can you believe that we create so much trauma? Because that's what we're used to. That's the addiction. Most people don't realize they're so addicted to the suffering, and that's why they keep creating more of it. They couldn't imagine not having some contrast, something good in their life, because all they've ever known is all the bad. And little glimpses of good make them go, ooh, that's uncomfortable. So I need to struggle, and I need to find something to fight. I need to find my adversary. There's another one. So Lucifer and God, or Lucifer and Jesus, two sides of the whole. Mr. Smith and Neo, the Oracle and the architect from the Matrix. Adversaries need one another to exist. Otherwise, poof, be gone, right? But no, there's a third that most people don't actually clue into, because they've been so caught up with this duality trap. Choosing this or that, the good or the bad, the yin, the yang, the true, the false, ones and zeros, bits and bytes, feminine and masculine, man and woman. There is neutrality, people. It's called the middle way. And it's an observance that, wow, I see that. And when you observe your own mind, when you become so meditative and aware of your own thoughts and the program running behind your show, because you are the architect of your universe, the architect of your life. You are the director, the producer, the actor, the participant, the observer. You're even watching your own show play out. You're all of that. And it's beautiful. That's why it's a divine comedy, because it's humorous to think that you're the one and not the one at the same time. That you have such a good sense of humor, and God does, that you created all this for your pure entertainment. Your joy, your pain, it's all the same. So we need the adversaries. Without them, we wouldn't see contracts. We wouldn't see the imbalances in life. See, imbalance is when you're on the pendulum of life and you're way over here and then over there. When it's so painful in a bad way, or so exciting in a good way. Those are just showing you where you have swung along in life on your pendulum and where you're out of balance. And when you're out of balance, you got to come back to the neutral point. You got to come back to the 0 point, to neutrality, which is the middle way. Because when you are in neutrality, this and that don't exist. Mr. Smith and Neo are one and the same. They become whole. The yin and the yang, you see the symbol. It's the black and the white, the two sides of the circle. They're complete because they are together, because they are whole. Just like us, we have to reach deep inside of ourselves. Into me I see, the intimacy with you, that's the foundation. When you own all your shit, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it is relevant. When you own it all, nobody else can own you. when you are strong and confident in conviction of who you are, like shit, I know my stuff. I see it in you. You can't get one over on me. If you know better, see, that's the key. When you know better, you can do better. When you know yourself so well, even your lies and your honesty, all of it's relevant. Because if you're the one deceiving yourself, everyone else around you will get one over on you. But when you know your truth, which means you know when you lie and you own that shit, nobody can lie to you and get one over on you. Know yourself so well that you even own and recognize your own deception. Because when you can see through your own lies, you can see through the lies around you, and nobody will deceive you. And when you're convicting, true, standing strong, stepping up, that's leveling up, people. That's what this is about. To win at the game of life is to be strong in the knowing of who you are. No matter what's going on around you, you're not trying to put on a show. You're not putting on a mask. You're not trying to please anybody else. You're just being you. You're not trying to convince anybody of who you are. Nobody cares. Can we be straight up and honest about that? The only one that matters is you. Again, you're the star of your own show. What kind of star are you? Are you going to shine? Because that's what we're here to do. Are you going to shine bright? Are you going to show it all? Own it all? Why would you cower and play small? Why are you living if you're not living it all? Like, live out loud. You hear all of these different slogans, all these different things that people have said over the years in movies and books. There's truth in it all. Just most people aren't paying attention. Because what has happened is, through this revealing, they want us to understand, they want us to wake up, they want to see us succeed, they want us to get it. Because even if you want to call the things that are happening in the world as evil plots and agendas, the truth of the matter is, we need that adversary to wake us out of our shit, to wake us up out of our slumber. Without them, how are we going to succeed? Without the discomfort, there is no comfort. Without the dis-ease, there is no ease. You got to feel into all of it to reveal all of it. Because, again, you got to feel it to heal it. And if you're not feeling and you're totally numbed out to everything, then you're not living. You're in a slumber. You are asleep. Sleep at the wheel of your vehicle, your body, your life. And you need to take control of all of it. You need to own it. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can do the work for you. We're here to do our own work on us. And as leaders, when we do the work on us, that inspires others. Whether it's positive or negative for the other person, sometimes people get jealous or envious. Maybe that still inspires them to attempt and take action in their lives. Because they don't think they have it in them. They see it in you. They want that. At least then it woke them up to the fact that they are unhappy. Now, whether or not it's revealed to them in the way that I can say that, that's irrelevant, none of your business. Just know there's going to be haters and lovers out there because you need each other. Because again, duality. For one side, there's the opposite. It's the adversary. Embrace the adversary and recognize your role because you're playing it all. Sometimes you're the victim and sometimes you're the victor. Sometimes you're the perpetrator and sometimes you're the solver. You're looking to fix everybody else's problems. When in reality, you need to be working on yourself. Nobody can fix anybody else's problems. Like, that's a distraction in itself. Using someone else as a scapegoat instead of looking at your own stuff. So there's just, this last little piece I just want to share is that, if you think there's a hell, the only hell that exists is in your mind. And right now, what we're witnessing is this has been a battle of the mind. Spiritual warfare has been an internal job. So I go back to everything we see in the world is a mere reflection of a collective collaboration, showing us collectively how imbalanced we have been and become. To allow things to get so out of control, to want others to take care of us, and that we don't want any responsibility at all. I mean, that in itself, why would you want someone else to tell you what to do and how to do it, and to protect you, which is such an illusion in itself? Because the idea that someone can protect you is the biggest lie ever perpetuated upon humans, because God created us in his perfect image. Devils and angels walking the earth. Technically, we're all gods walking the earth. If you think about being made in his image, as it said, why isn't it you're stepping up into that powerful role? Because you don't think you're worthy. And the truth is, we're all worthy. It's our thinking about it that makes it not so good, because it's that duality again, this separation, this idea that we are not supposed to, because that's, again, the story we were told. The lost ancient history, the lost ancient technology, symbology. Do you realize that the real spell casting, again, we're going to go back to the neutrality. Neutrality, everything is neutral until you place meaning on it. You put your... From the moment we're born, we're told what to think, how to speak, how to behave, to be good little serfs, to be good little humans, to do as we're told, not as we're, what we feel inside, what we innately know to be true for us. Because I know for myself, as a young child, and this is one of the reasons I have maintained, I feel, a whole lot of appreciation for children, because they're the closest to source. And before the world got a hold of children, we should have been cultivating. I know for me, when I was younger, I had that connection to God, to source. I remember that I had a lot of questions that humans couldn't answer. Why? Because humans were already conditioned, and adults forgot what it was like to be a child. And I still remember what it was like to be a child, and having that naivete, that sense, that knowing. And I have always had this funny story and belief around how we came into the world, we were born, and that we developed an amnesia over that time. Because if you don't continue to inquire with the child that still has that purity and connection, they lose it over time. So up until the ages of 6 or 7, they're very impressionable. You can train them. The Jesuits would say, give me a child until the age of 7 and I will show you the man, because they knew how to manipulate and to condition and program a child. And they've done this in all this period, all this time. We've all gone through it. If you're an adult and you're watching this, you've been through it. And when I was younger, I remembered, my commune with God was out in nature. I could go out in a field full of flowers and be happy and feel connected to source. And I would get in trouble when I would ask in Catholic religious classes, well, wait a minute, in the Bible it says, God said, don't worship me within 4 walls. And I was very perplexed, very confused. And they're saying they did not like, and I'm always the person who would squeaky wheel, asking questions, disrupting, because I asked questions that nobody had the answers to. And instead of them saying, I don't know the answer to that question, they would try to fudge it up and lie. See, they teach you that lying's okay when you don't know. And that, to me, is unacceptable. And so children can see through the lies, and they lose respect. They always say, respect your elders. But as a child, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of my elders because of their inability to be authentic, aligned with their own integrity, and their inability to tell the truth with honesty, to divulge what was real and what was not, and what they knew and what they didn't. To be able to admit you don't have the answers, that in itself is a leader, because all I was taught by my mother is always ask questions. Question your own thoughts, question your own beliefs, question it all the time. And always ask, because asking doesn't hurt. Except for those who have a very strong dogma, very strong beliefs, have a very strong ego. They don't like to be questioned, because then, ooh, that's their authority in their mind. Their mind is their authority. So that in itself shows their mind is running the show, that they are the slave to their own mind. How many of us are slaves to our own mind versus masters of our minds? That's the first key in breaking the spell over yourself, to lift the veil, to return to your truth, is to own your mind, not let it own you. It's mastering the mind, not being mastered by your mind. So with all of this, and children are the target, of course, because who's going to run the next show? Who's the next generation to take over? It's always the children, right? And we were once children. So when we are conditioned and we have all of these traumas of misaligned stories, because the body registers these discomforts, because when the mind knows, unconscious, it's usually not conscious, that I've been running a program, and a program that doesn't align with my soul, with my integrity, it is not my truth, the body registers discomfort, dis-ease, as its way of trying to signal you and get your attention. This is why they use kinesiology, because the body will tell on the mind long before the mind catches on, because you cannot think yourself out of your problems. You cannot think yourself healthy and healed and aware and awake. The same level of thinking is not going to be able to produce the results you claim you want. So you want to attract to you the most beautiful, wonderful experiences, but you have to first start with feeling into what you feel. And recognizing that everything around you is for you is a signal. So you can do the inner work, you can confront what's going on within, or you can let life serve it up to you, usually with the third party, to shake it out of you. Either you choose or it's chosen for you. This is, again, the duality. Do the work from the inside out. Don't let the outside do the work out in, because that's more painful. I've done both at various times of my life. I wasn't choosing myself back when I lived in Italy. I was working under a very oppressive situation at work, and I know how I manifested certain experiences through that. That even my boyfriend at the time, he was doing all these things that made me feel a certain way, but it wasn't about me. That was his behavior. It was how I responded to it. That was the problem. So we have to own our part in every experience we have and not act like it's being done to us. That's just playing the victim, and that disempowers us. But the moment you own your part and you claim it, and you recognize, yeah, I was a shit to that person, or I was crappy to that other person, and I wasn't so kind at certain points in my life either. Like, you own that. You don't even need to forgive yourself or anybody else. To be truly honest, when it's neutral, because the experience was actually neutral, it's you who put the meaning and the matter on it. Forgiveness is really unnecessary. If we were to really sit here and step back, God doesn't need to forgive you, because he just said, you're going to go out and experience all these different things because that's what I want to experience through you. We are all avatars and smaller versions of God playing out in this life. Meaning we are part of the Godhead. We are part of original source. And all we are is in this little virtual matrix game of, here, throw all these people out in here and let's see how they play. I want to feel it all. And if you've ever done any psychedelics, you've done DMT or MDMA, MDMT, M3MEO, all this stuff, mushrooms, it opens you up to the other. It takes the veil off of what is right in front of your eyes here that you are still unable to see. And you can get those insights. You can get those drop-ins. You'll recognize, oh my gosh, if you really get a good one, you'll be part of the Godhead, and you'll feel and sense that, oh my gosh, I created all of this for my own pure enjoyment. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. We are the architect, the the participant, the director, all of it. Every little detail is us. And the true reality is that we are just leveling up in this game. Every time you feel discomfort, that's your opportunity and your signal that growth is coming. And in order to get through the stresses of life, there's major life changes happening at all times. That when you're under pressure, that pressure cooker, it's preparing you. When you're under pressure, it's preparation to come through on the other side stronger, more resilient, able to handle more. It's like exercising muscles, no different, but it's mental. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, it's all connected. You can't be weak in any of those areas. If you're not exercising all those muscles, then you're weak and you're easy to manipulate. And then you're going to be a target for the externals because you're not going to see the internals. If you're willing to go in, you don't go without. How does that sit with you? How many out there feel like this resonates with you? Like, what speaks to you? Have I said anything that really just, wow, okay, aha, let me know. I need to know if this is really coming home, hitting home for any of you, because I share what I download, what I channel. And the other night I was saying, I was on a live with Decode Your Reality with Logan. He's amazing. I highly recommend you follow him. I called in, and one of the things that I always say is we are all each other's medicine, meaning we don't just teach each other, but we learn from each other and we help each other grow through experiences. So even if it feels like you have someone who makes you upset, they're showing you, they're illuminating, that's a light worker, where you need to work on your shit, where you need to grow, where you need to strengthen your heart and your soul to really align with your truth. Even if someone's taking advantage of you, they're not. That's you allowing them. That's giving your power to them. The fact that you even get upset shows you care, and that's on the levels of consciousness. So anger is like the steps to get you motivated to make a change. All of it's relevant for you, served up to you for your growth and evolution. So bless your enemies, as Joel Osteen would say, because enemies are who lift you the highest. Those are the ones that poke and provoke you the most and get you out of your comfort zone. Because the only way we grow is when we're in discomfort. You don't grow inside your comfort zone. No, you get stagnant. And so everybody should be going through discomfort right now, because this is where everybody's leveling up. And that pressure is to turn you into, it's pressurizing that coal, it's pressurizing you, just like the butterfly has to turn to goo, preparing you for the next level. Excuse me. Did you ever stop to think we could come out on the other side with telepathy? I think I channeled this in this past year when I said that, I felt like there will be a grid knockout and by a meteor or something. I mean, I know that we've had a lot of solar activity, and evil will be extracted. Well, it's being pulled out of us right now, because your evil, let's say, is all that shadow stuff that you haven't been confronting and facing within yourself. If you keep on pointing fingers out, you got 3 back at you. That's 3 times of work you got to do. And that judgment upon another is a judgment upon yourself. It ricochets. It's a boomerang effect. You can have ill will toward another and an ill thought toward another, and you're the one who gets hurt, not them. It doesn't even affect them or penetrate them. If anything, it gives them more good juju. You send your good vibes to them, and then you're left over with the cloud, the pig pen. So I want you to consider, what is it you value in this life? We are each other's medicine. And when we come into contact with one another, this was the other thing I shared last night. We're technically, if you think of this as a matrix, as digital, as technology, and this dropped in yesterday, we're each other's cipher codes, ciphers, unlocking each other's codes. So if you've watched some old like Marvel, the Transformers and all that, or these different types of movies where you know what a cipher is, it's like it has to turn a certain way to unlock. And when we come into contact with certain people that we contracted outside of this realm on an energetic level, I couldn't even explain the details because I think it's much deeper than one can articulate in words anyway. But when we come together, there's like this cipher unlocking that's happening, not just for me or just for you, but all of us, all of humanity, the collective collaboration. And that in order to truly lift the veil off of humanity, of this spell that's been cast for who knows how long, since the last reset, when they wiped out the world with floods and then replaced all of our ancestors with orphans who are our ancestors, having no memory of the past. Can you imagine? No wonder we don't remember, but some of us, we have memory. Some of us came in still with this lingering sense like, I've been here before. This is me speaking from my experience. We have gifts we remember. We remember being the dancer, the artist, the entrepreneur, the queen, the princess, the king, the emperor, these great leaders, these great magicians, these shamans, these, you name it, we've been it all. We've done it all. And some of us still have the memory. But imagine orphans, why they target children, to repopulate and reset the world so that the next group won't have a memory of its history. And once again, they will start over telling what the history was as opposed to what it really was. So we are ciphers. And when we come into contact, we're unlocking those lost ancient technologies, memories, histories, and it's part of the code to unlocking us and lifting that veil. And so the more of us that come together and start focusing on solutions instead of fighting the old, that is not going to fix the world. The more you are fighting or complying, both of them are feeding the machine, the beast. When you step away from the matrix and you start working on the new structures, everything's got to dissolve. You can't continue to fight and try to make work something that was long obsolete. Technology. It's time to move forward, to reharness our free energy. We shouldn't have to fight or pay for any of that. We are smarter than we realize. We need to start collaborating better. Coming together, please reach out to me. I'm all open for collaboration on this one. Because I believe with the research I've done and just the knowing in my heart and soul and what aligns and the downloads that I've gotten is that all of these buildings that they, will just say they, inhabit, UNESCO sites, cathedrals, government structures, why are they so fancy? From these golden age times, why are we living in these crappy structures? Like my house needs such renovation, and I'm shaking my head going, we are much more advanced, yet we are living in the slums. Like, okay, I've experienced that now. I'm good with that. I'm ready to move on up. Anybody else want to join me? Like, I've lived a great life. I've had extremes from really happy, in six figures in my job and living abroad, and I love travel, to scraping as a veteran because the Veterans Administration doesn't like to pay their veterans. And I'm not upset about it because I know how to make things work, because it's about being flexible and finding ways to stretch money, to be able to prioritize, to budget, and have a good family structure and support when you need it. Not everybody has that. If you don't know how to leverage money, or like I own my house, so that's the biggest benefit of all. then you're going to be, kind of screwed. But at the same time, it's also about who do you know? Who can you work with? Who can you trust and who can trust you? Because if you're not trustworthy too, and you are not good with money and you're trying to fake it, nobody's going to want to collaborate with you. I'm just going to say, I won't. If you're no good with money and you can't prove it, sorry. But these are different things you have to sit with. I'm just sharing. That's what I do. But we have to be working on solutions, ways to create community again, to reharness. Again, I was saying about the structures, the golden age, these beautiful structures, these buildings. That's what used to be the source of our free energy. And they know the ancient technology. People will say symbolism will be the downfall. Do you know that the symbology itself is neutral? They just know the ancient technology and they've been using it to their advantage because they're the ones who've reset us. The truth is that it works just as equally for us. You can't poo-poo on it, and you can't turn around and say it's evil, because it isn't. It's the intentions behind the symbology. Just like I watched Sky Life's video earlier today where she was in Mexico and she went to this man's place, a satanic priest or something, and he creates ritual to cast spells and magic. And I was like, oh, let me watch this, because I have an open mind and I'm willing to learn. I have no judgment. In fact, I'm much more neutral on things because of my experiences and what I've witnessed. And then the more I judge something, the more suffering I experience, the more resistance I experience going through my life. So in this video, what I appreciated was he spoke about duality. And he spoke about how, and we live in Satan's playground, technically. This is Satan's lair here, the world of materialism. He spoke about how Satan gave him what he needed when he needed it and asked for it. He claims he would go to hell. I don't know that that's true. If he's helping people, how does that make him a bad person? That's us placing judgment, and that you have to have the adversary. So you have to look again at the intention behind the symbology. The Star of David and the Merkaba and the Illuminati and the pentagram and all this stuff. It's not inherently evil. It's the people behind it who have created that meaning, have created the resistance for us. If you really want to talk about it, it's called control opposition. If we can keep you from wanting, it's just like money, money's the root of all evil. If you believe it's evil, there's more of it for them. So of course they want you to resist and to see it as bad because it's more for them. So when you start recognizing money is a tool just as much for you, and that it isn't bad, it is just what it is, currency meant to stay in motion, flow like the ocean, that our biggest currency isn't money, it's our thoughts. It's us. We are the fucking currency. And that is the unknown truth of all this game, that we are what they want. Our energy, they harvest off of our fear. When you are caught up in emotions, they get power because you direct it toward them. So again, sit with that symbology. Try to unwrap it. Try to eliminate the beliefs you have around a lot of what's going on in the world and start viewing it from a different lens, because the truth of what you're seeing is meant to keep you distracted, entertained, and entertained. You've been trained to believe, oh, those are evil people, to side with this group or to side with that group, which is no different. And that's a this or that, that's duality, and that's a trap. That the more you're willing to acknowledge that it's neutral and to detach, because that's what the gurus taught, non-attachment, you will suffer less. It will, when you face it, it won't fester. It will linger less. And your life will become more ease and grace. And the right people will show up to meet you where you're at. when you're not in distress, when you're not in stretching out and freaking out. We're meant to be abundant. Even in the scriptures, by the way, scriptures, the story, the book. They wrote the script and you're playing it out. Do you know that the Christians are about the majority of the people that are keeping that whole story in line, keeping it alive? We don't even know the half of the truth. We are just told, oh, there's truth and lies and truth. And there are. But you have to learn to discern it in here, not out there. We can search and search, and I am a researcher like no other, because I had a mother. She was a triple Sag, and she was all about truth seeking. We grew up being told in the 80s about half the stuff that's going on now, and we just used to roll our eyes like, oh, Mom. Now we have conversations like, gosh, I wish Mom were alive to have these conversations. She knew, and so many more did and do. It's time for you to know. And the truth is within you, not outside of you. The sooner you tap in and you start to learn to feel, you'll feel your truth in your body, not in your mind. You got to drop from the head to the heart, because the heart will never lead you astray. It's the head that gets in the way. This is the most powerful time in our lives and all of humanity. It's actually really exciting. How could you not get excited about what's next? What's coming? What is? Like when I walk my dog, I have the happiest dog, and the wind is blowing and everything in my world is beautiful. The most amazing people come to me. They talk to me. I have people reaching out to me all the time who got their problems, and they want me to hear their problems. And I'm like, yeah. How's that story serving you? Not everybody wants tough love from me. Not everyone wants to be confronted. They're looking for someone to listen and enable their story. And I'm here to tell you, if you really want to heal it, I'll help you. But it isn't always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You got to sit in your own shit sometimes. I've been doing this for years. And it isn't always pretty, because life is messy. But that's where you grow the most, is in your shit. The lotus comes out of the mud, and you yourself are going to emerge from your goo, renewed and unrecognizable, a new, bright, shiny you. On that note, I love you very much, and I hope you have an amazing Sunday. I'm going to go grab my lawnmower and, mow the lawn for Dad, because I'm his oldest daughter, and I'm the son he never had. So, lots of love. Keep it real. I love you so much, and you are worthy.